Okay, it's close enough to 8 o'clock. We'll get started. I'll call the Whitley County Redevelopment Commission meeting, November the 12th, 2025, to order. At this time, I'll do roll call. Teresa Basinger, Frank Kessler,
Present.
John Myers,
Present.
Michael Schrader,
Present.
Jill Western,
Here.
and I'm here. Okay, first thing on the agenda, Impact CNC Training Grant.
I mean, we've signed that. I'm just waiting for the first submission for a claim, so.
Yeah, I think that one was a
Yeah,
leftover.
leftover.
Okay,
The next one was supposed to be on here though.
Yeah.
Whitley County Environmental Infrastructure Grant.
Yeah, so, you know, we had talked about this briefly. This is, I mean, what we were calling it that, it's All Pro Towing, also a couple of others. It's actually a holdings company that is ultimately the owner of the property adjacent to the TIF. And the request of the commission is to help them with the boring they need to do to get the sewer to the new property. Again, it's not in the TIF.
But it's connected to.
But it's connected to the TIF. They have two quotes, and they actually asked for three. They got two back for this work. And the quotes are somewhere in the $22,000 range, 22, 24. What I looked at was just, you know, what's a reasonable amount for the commission maybe to help. And I looked at like the first 5 years of the property tax, and that's where the 18,000 came from. So we're not paying for all of it. So the request is to pay up to $18,000 of the boring work to get the sewer to the new building. And Andy put together an economic development agreement saying such.
Yeah, I mean, the way it would work is, first of all, they have to publicly bid it, but because of the size of the project, they're just required to solicit 3 quotes and take the lowest quote. So it sounds like they did that. And then you would actually just pay the contractor directly as the bills came in, but your obligation stops at $18,000 and they're responsible for everything else.
And again, it's not typical of some of the manufacturing do, but I think they provide a very good service, and that's the request on the table, is this resolution, or this economic development agreement up to $18,000.
So the 18,000 is the property tax on the entire project, on the kind of the incremental.
For the first 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Recognize though that that increment won't go into the TIF
Right.
because it's outside the TIF.
Because it's outside the
Yeah.
TIF.
I'll admit, it's a little unusual, but I think it'd be nice if the commission would be willing to help them with this effort.
And as I understand it, having the new facility will open up room for them to do more at their existing facility. I guess that's plural, facilities within the TIF, so.
Have they talked to you, like what those other things might be?
He's coming in next week. He and Steve are sitting down with me, kind of describing all that.
Mhm.
Dell, by doing this, do you foresee down the road any problems with other projects that might come in will ask about the same thing? That's not maybe close to the TIF?
I could see some, listen, people every day call looking for something. You know, I've got everybody's always asking, but I think this is a little unique, that it is touching the TIF, and it is actually an infrastructure project. A lot of other people sometimes ask to help get their parking lot paid for or whatnot, but usually it stops once I know they're not in the TIF, and I just kind of shut it down or start thinking about going in front of council to ask for an abatement. So you can say, well, why didn't you do that? In this case, I just thought, you know, we'd make the request. I mean, we've talked about it several times, so I'm hoping you would be good with this.
Yeah, I would say it's kind of similar. I realize Abed is in the TIF, but it's kind of similar to a project we did for him probably 5 or 6 years ago with his
Drainage.
helping with access, so. And it's going for infrastructure that's gonna be there. Even, again, it's kind of like Frank and I talked in the past about investing in training or investing in infrastructure stuff that, even if the company evaporates or whatever, we still have the value there for the local community and the next company that might come along.
Yeah, like I said, this.
I like a couple aspects of it. One, it supports local business, even though they're not, this building is not going to be in the TIF. They do own properties within the TIF. And they've been longstanding taxpayers. The other thing I like is that it's gonna utilize a piece of property that probably otherwise would not ever be developed. So that adds, adds to the overall value of the industrial sites out there. I like that part of it. The fact that, we're not going to get a direct tax return from it is a minus, but we're looking at 18,000, versus the amounts that we're normally looking at. So.
Dale, did you have something you was gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say, at least the work that we're asking for, like 90% of it will be in the TIF. Just until you get to the road and cross over.
Speaking to the precedent setting part of it, if this was a more significantly sized project, so many acres rather than, 2 acres, we would probably be entertaining the idea of expanding the TIF or establishing a second or an additional TIF. But the numbers for this, just 18,000 is not going to justify the cost of creating a new TIF just for this.
Just a little extra money for you, Jill.
What's the commission like to do?
I'll make a motion that we enter into the agreement as has been drafted by Andy to support the project.
I'll second.
Okay, we've got first and second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, the same. I'm gonna show that it passed. Okay, next, 100 South Reconstruction Engineering. Brent?
So, despite my attempts to get back to this project and work on it, it keeps getting bumped to the side by lots of other pressing things. So I think it's time to acknowledge that I don't have the capacity to finish this project out. And so before this, I took the liberty of asking for a scope and fee estimate from a firm. That firm was RQAW DCCM, and Scott's here from that firm. The estimate was, I think, presented in the packet, and it covered everything from verifying what I've done to date to finishing out the roadway design and utility coordination and environmental coordination, which is just the construction stormwater general permit, because we are disturbing more than an acre of land.
Brad, we didn't get that.
No? I thought I passed it on.
I don't think you did.
I'm going to. I passed it on to you at least.
That's all that counts if you meant to.
Well, it's the thought that counts, right?
Yeah.
They say. Okay, so it covers all that. The total fee was $106,000, which is probably pretty competitive in this consulting market. Sorry about the packet. Do you have any questions or details, or do you want me to try and give it to Tiffany so she can get it on the screen? But
I'd like to have
I'd
a
like
copy
to
of
see
it so
it,
I
yeah.
can look at it and then, yeah, study it a little bit.
Brad, would this get us to the point where we're ready to proceed with the,
Part of this with talking
Bidding.
with RQAW was that we wanted to bid it and go to construction next summer. And so I think they're aware of the tight turnaround. And so, yes. I also have tried to express that they'll need to lower their normal level of quality down to a more local level and not to the state level, because we don't need to design to state standards and jump through all the hoops that the state requires.
I have a question for Scott. So does that include the Friends in Whitley County discount in that quote?
It does,
Okay.
yeah, it does, definitely. Thank you, John.
I have a logistical question. So the redevelopment commission can certainly bid this out and do it, or they can reimburse the unit also according to the statute. So would this be a project done by the highway department, or would the project be done by the redevelopment commission?
I think this would be a project done by, I was imagining done by the redevelopment commission. Because I do think at least the paving is beyond the scope or beyond the capabilities of the highway.
Well, I think they anticipated paying for it. I just meant they don't have a project manager and stuff like. So with the highway department could run the project. I bid it out, not self-perform, but then they could just reimburse the county for the cost of it.
That can work.
Okay. Is that what you guys envision? You think? Because instead of you actually doing the project.
if we actually do the project, where do we stand with, do we have to get competitive bids then, or?
Well, either way, they have to bid it. Yeah.
Well, for construction, right? But
Yeah.
for
Not.
professional
Oh, sorry. Not for
services-
the. I'm talking about not the engineering
Okay.
services.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm talking about after you hire the engineer, after it's designed.
Mhm.
How's the project actually going to get done?
So are you saying, are you asking that for the engineering
Well,
contract?
it kind of backs up to that, right? With the highway department, would the contract for the design be with the highway department, and you would just pay for it? You'd reimburse the county for those costs, or are you going to hire the engineer and design it?
Mhm.
Because ultimately, it's going to be owned and maintained by the highway department.
Yeah, I like Scott, but I don't feel like hanging out with him that much.
I think that would be something that maybe we should ask the highway department if they have time to do it or not, or want to do it, before we commit to.
Well, most of it would end up going through me anyways. I'd run stuff by them to make sure they're fine with the pavement and the driveways and the drainage, but, I'd probably still maintain project management and coordination with RQW and they would probably do QA/QC checks, like proof rolls of the subgrade and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it would be similar, if I recall, to how we did the sewer out to the Rogers property. That was a city sewer project, but you just paid for it, I think.
That was a little different because of the interaction, because it wasn't reimbursing the
That's
same
right.
unit.
That's right, because it was the city.
Yeah.
We just transferred it at the end, which we could do with this also.
Brad, do you know if the highway's got any big projects coming up next year, like they did with Lincoln Way the last 2 years?
They'll have some, I don't know what they applied for community crossings. I want to say it was 800 East County Line Road. But it will be $1 million project instead of a $1.5 million project, just because they lowered the number, but yeah, they will have something like that.
Okay.
I think regardless of how it moves forward, it needs to be coordinated with highway because it's their road.
Mhm.
So even if it's your quote project, you need permission to improve their road. But so it seemed to make sense that they would be the highway department's project. You just reimburse them for it.
I'll have to make sure they have enough rotating funds to pay it out, get reimbursed.
Well, they can, it doesn't have to be, it could be simultaneous. The invoice comes in, they could just pay it.
Is that okay with the commission? Or commission wanna do something else to go with the highway department?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the idea of having someone day-to-day that, you know, that RQAW can pick up the phone and say, you know, we came across mastodon bones, what do you want us to do with that, or, you know, something
Sure.
like that.
You didn't have to bring that up.
And as the engineering, that coordination will go through me. And then
Okay.
once it sort of goes to the construction, there'll be a little bit more highway department involvement.
Mhm. Well, as long as Brad's responsible.
Yeah.
Do you want us to bring it up on screen, Brad, if you could put it in county shared real quick, we could do that, or wait till the next meeting? What do you wanna do?
Why don't we wait till the next meeting, that way Brad has time to gather up more information as far as maybe working with the county on it.
Make sure they're okay with it.
Yeah, just make sure everybody's okay with it.
Yeah, I've been talking with them, and I mean, they know about the project, and they haven't had any really comment on it.
Or you could approve the total amount as an expenditure, subject to final review of documents or something, just to get the ball rolling.
Because it was just a draft scope and fee, so we'll need to finalize the scope and fee and get an agreement and a contract set up.
I definitely wanna keep pushing forward on this, so, you know, whatever's the most expeditious. to
Well,
get
it
done.
sounds like there needs to be a formal agreement anyway, so maybe just a general understanding that it sounds good and put a contract together, if that's your consensus.
Yeah.
Commission okay with that?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd say yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay, next online is Overdeer Drive Design and Engineering.
Do you want to start? Do you want
Yeah,
to start?
so, you know, we've been looking at a couple of different ideas here and, going out to the property and trying to really understand what a developer might or might not want. And, you know, and also still trying to understand where, you know, how quickly 700 interchange will go, because it looks like that is moving forward. I don't know where 600 is in all this. So I say all that to say that the property owner would like something maybe just a little more sketched out. I was talking to Brad about this, just for them to understand what we're talking about, whether we actually want to buy some property or work out some kind of easement or whatnot, and then exactly where it would go. So at least for Brad and I, our thought process, and I think maybe as well with talking to Nathan about this, that we would just get from 600 to the property and kind of look at that for now. And talk to several people about helping us with that. And then just trying to figure out with the property owners or with Chromosource, you know, how that road might work. And then that everybody's concern is, and the property owner, like, to make sure Lear or XL or whoever's got the serial in the building has a way to access this. And so, you know, the couple of people I've shown the property, you know, I kind of described this scenario to them, but they'd really like to see that, if not started, that road design, at least to the property. And then also talk about, you know, where the water and sewer, how far away they are. So I think Brad and I have had several conversations about this, and so if he doesn't do much more than that and sketches something out, then we can keep this moving and look at also who might design the road. As everybody's aware of, well, I think most people are aware of, I'm keenly aware of it because I used to work in those buildings a long time ago. The soils are pretty sketchy there, but there is already a road there, or a street, or whatever you might want to call it.
So when you say people you've talked to, do you mean like potential project people?
A potential project people, yes.
Okay.
And the thing is, it's like, me, you know, where we ultimately take the road to get to 700 is still very much up in the air, because I think you can't be closer than 1,000 feet to the actual interchange.
The ramp terminal.
The ramp turn, yeah,
So add in, you know,
so getting
200 feet for a roundabout, and
Yeah.
then 1,000 feet from there.
So-
at least 1,200 feet from the right of way.
So I know, you know, the property owner of the rectangle isn't interested, but, they're gonna be doing some eminent domain on part of that, I would think. And so, that's why we.
The big triangle in the middle?
Yeah, well,
No. That rectangle.
this rectangle, that property owner wasn't interested in, at the last conversation with them, they weren't interested in an option or selling or whatnot, but, you know, that's the hurdle in making this more of an elegant way of getting on and off the property and on and off of 30. I say all that to say, I think we gotta keep this moving, and the first key step is the road from 600 to the property, in my opinion.
I agree. We've got to keep this thing going. If that's what it takes, I think that's what we need to get started on. Yeah.
And continuing with the conversation, we have the second appraisal on the triangle wooded lot. And, you know, I've reached back out to the property owner now that we have it, and kind of have a discussion on next steps. You know, I was briefly talking to John as a commissioner on this, one of the commission. Would we want to first write a refusal, or do we actually want to agree on some kind of value, and then maybe a 3-year option at a certain dollar amount? I think leaning more towards kind of coming up with some kind of agreement and a dollar amount. That would certainly make a developer feel a lot better as well, knowing that that property was under control.
Dale, will that new drive eventually go out to Lincoln Way?
Well, the idea is not to take traffic to Lincoln Way, just to get it over to 700. And you could say, well, that's interesting, because
So you got to go curl over 700 and then go to Lincoln Way and then back
no, for what?
to get out of the park. I mean, are you going to make it to where?
Oh, well, I mean, you could, but the idea is then you just get on 30 off that interchange at
Okay.
700. I think he's designing retention as we speak.
Like he's
He's
decided.
planning down a road network.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there we go.
A big roundabout?
You want me to get SimCity going here, and we can. Anyway, more specifically, it would connect over to 700 here somehow, and their working design, I believe, is something like is it a modified trumpet here, Brad, you know?
So the last meeting we had, they didn't have any alternatives really for this. They were waiting for survey to come through so they could start looking at it.
Okay.
They're actually, I think, kind of hoping that new NIPSCO station there can get moved, so that it's not in the way. They also have the small triangle adjacent to 30 to worry about, because I guess that's on the historical property register, the northwest quadrant.
That
Yeah.
hasn't stopped him before.
No.
What is it that's on the historical registry?
The house, I think.
Yeah, it would be on the interim report, it's not registered, but.
We did receive notice that the surveyors are coming out from NDOT.
So they also don't know, like, the space is pretty tight on SDI's property too, so they're coordinating with SDI on what they're willing to get relocated. So hopefully we'll have more soon.
And NDOT and SDI are both, I think at this point, relying on this connector to go through as part of what they're designing, so.
They
No
have,
pressure on that.
They have a consultant on board now for this phase, so we have somebody more direct to work with.
So the update is, we're moving forward. And then we'll have something, hopefully in a couple of meetings, to more formally present or make an ask.
Okay.
And then see what you think about it.
And I think Brad, similar position as 100 South, can take it through the preliminary engineering, basically what we're talking about now, and then turn it over to a consultant for construction and final engineering and construction.
And again, we can't, as Andy said before, we're not gonna get too far ahead of ourselves till we have an understanding with the property owner of where the road would go.
Yeah, the one goal, it's come up a couple different times in our discussion, is taking it to the property line and making it as easy to connect to for the new developer as possible. We don't want someone coming in and saying they got basically screwed over because we obligated them to construct a road. We want this to be easy for them to connect into and meaningful. So running, following the contours up there, making it natural. We don't have to plan everything out. We just have to make it easy for someone to connect into.
Where's the water and sewer currently?
Water is along the west edge. You can see where the gap in the trees are.
Yeah, okay.
And sewer would be a couple different options on how to connect. The easiest one, in my opinion, is to tie into the lift station that's right here by Magnabugs. I know it's not Magnabugs.
Should we consider putting sewer extension as part of the road project so that they can install?
That's where I was going.
It would make sense. It would also make sense just simply to leave right of way because we don't necessarily know how deep the sewer needs to be for whatever use goes in.
Well, I suppose if it's a big food processing plant that's gonna have a lot of wastewater or something like that, you don't wanna put in a small size.
Yeah. Even a data center would have a pretty heavy water usage in the effluent, so.
I think that would be something to think about in the talks, is make sure you have a healthy right-of-way to put utilities, whatever needs to get run over there, if there's something more than sewer. So maybe it's Nathan could tell you however wide that right-of-way needs to be with the road and all the additional right-of-way.
I think we
We'll
were,
have to classify it and then.
I think we were working at 80 feet,
Okay.
which is, I think what we actually require for industrial roads anyway, so.
And then it'll probably include stuff like grading for sidewalks, but not actually installing the sidewalks and checking to see the drain, whatever is the larger right-of-way need for drainage, whether it's a ditch network or a storm sewer network.
Good. Anything else on that?
Is there anything that you need, like, at least our thoughts or anything? I mean,
I think the main thought is, you don't want us to keep going down this path. If you're okay with it, then I don't think we need anything for now.
okay,
Because I don't think we presented enough for you to really get a consensus or whatnot.
But I like the idea, keep moving on.
Yeah.
Had it long enough and time to move. Okay, 2026 spending plan.
Well, we have a bid opening scheduled for 8:30, so if you want to take a break for that momentarily.
Okay,
Breaks over. There's no bids.
Do we have to officially open and close a bid?
No, you just say we didn't receive any.
Yeah, we didn't receive
said
any.
we
Yeah.
didn't receive any bid
Were
opening.
they supposed to run them down if they got them last minute?
They were due to your office by 8 o'clock, I believe, and, or no, by 8:30.
Yeah.
So hopefully nobody's standing
I guess you want to
outside the
just
door.
walk over there real quick and
That'll be.
through the extras. So you can get more coffee that way.
I need coffee.
Yeah.
It was duly advertised in 2 newspapers twice, so just want to put that on the record. I think we've got the bills for that too.
So assuming that he comes back with only coffee, after, you can't accept the bid for the sale of the property less than the advertised price for 30 days. So once that 30 days expires, you have the flexibility to dispose of it as you see fit.
Nothing in the mail slot.
Okay.
Okay. Then we'll go back up to 2026 spending plan.
Okay, so in your packets, you have a draft version of the 26 spending plan, and keep in mind this is what's statutorily required now. We did this last year, kind of like a budget, but they don't call it a budget because if they called it a budget, then that would follow a different process. So it's a spending plan. What I did sketching out, what I sent was basically take the 2025 plan and modified a couple different numbers. So I'll just put the 25 plan. How do I do this? Put it over here and just read you what 25 was. So changes that I'd made under 2025's plan, we had $700,000 and $100,000 for the 2 bond payments. That was based upon the 2025 expected payments plus a unknown quantity for finance fees or service fees and so on. So based upon 2025 and previous year, these numbers are a lot closer to what our actual expenditures are. So it's actually a little bit lower by $56,000 or so there. In 2025 for educational programming, we had written in Eagle Tech expenses, but we didn't allocate anything to it. After talking over with Dale, it makes sense to at least put into the plan some sort of dollar value, be it for any of the 3 school corporations, or 4 if we include Troy.
And Andy, I don't know if any other redevelopments do this, but I did talk to several of my colleagues across the state, and a lot of them just have this for, especially CTE in the county.
So basically a standing amount.
A standing amount.
Yeah. So based upon the fact that we've got 3 school corporations, it's $300,000, but that's totally an arbitrary number. And again, just a standing amount there. Capital expenses, these don't change from 2025. Basically, capital projects, those would be our couple big road projects, the sewer project, water project as may be needed. Lease payments, We are done with the Rogers lease. However, it's a successful model, so there might be another possibility that sometime in 2026 we might start that. Beginning in 2026 probably won't warrant $200,000, but again, each year we might look at that. So, contributions to the EDC, to the Lido, in 2025 it was 50, for 26 proposing to bump it up to 55 based upon the fact that everything's getting more expensive in the world. Training grants in 2025 we had $450,000, proposing to bring that down to $200,000 because we are up to date with our training grants. So it's more of a reflection of whatever we may bring in yet this year and next. Professional expenses, the only change between 2025 and 26 is bringing postage down from 1,000 to 750. Even 750 is probably pretty high. The other numbers, again, if we have projects coming through, those things would be what we'd be expecting, and accounting would be for something like the big utility reports. Moving on, fire department, we still have the obligation up to $100,000 when they request it, so that's still slated in there. The other numbers remain zeros down to permissible reimbursements of the county. That'd be $150,000, just like it was this year. Again, that would be some overlap with something like capital expenditures like we were just talking about. So this might be if the highway department did some reconstruction, minor reconstruction, maintenance work within the TIF district, for example, rather than a full capital project. Bond proceeds from Series A, we still have $399,793, I believe. So I rounded that up to $399,800. So that's actually a reduction of $200. The others all are the same. So in 2025 spending plan, we had $7,727,000, and in the proposed 26 spending plan at $7,725,050. So a reduction of about $2,000.
That $399,800 there, that Series A that's still left, I'll check the bond, but we could probably use that for the road engineering and that road project. I know utilities were included. I don't remember if roads were or not.
I think we've talked about that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll check. That way you can just use those funds for the engineering of that road for 100.
And again, this is not an appropriation. Those are still handled separately. This is a indication if we have the money available, be it through additional bond issuance or other revenue streams, this would be what we could spend without having to go back through county council for their blessing and redo this whole thing. So this is intentionally kind of on the high side.
Anything else on that?
Nope. From here, if you guys approve this, we need to get it to the county executive and fiscal bodies, so commissioners and council, and then Tiffany needs to also upload it to Gateway by December 1st.
And they're not approving it. The commissioners and the council, you have to give them.
Yeah, we have to quote unquote file it with them.
Yeah.
I believe last year I actually made a presentation because it was the first year we've done it. I wouldn't recommend doing that this year since the changes are pretty minor, Kim, unless you feel like we should, but.
No.
So do we need a motion
Motion.
recommending
To approve it.
to approve it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion to approve the spending plan for 2026 as presented.
Second?
We have a first and second. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor, raise your right hand. All them opposed, the same. We'll show that passed.
Thank you. We will get that filed with the places it needs to go.
Okay. 2026 meeting dates.
I believe the meeting dates as proposed, we don't have any changes due to holidays. So, that's all. Standard second and fourth Wednesdays unless it conflicts.
Wednesdays?
Huh?
Tuesdays.
Tuesdays.
In fairness, today is Wednesday.
Yeah, yeah. Except for when we have the month starting on a Tuesday and then everything bumps off to third and fifth to avoid the conflict with council.
We need to approve that, or is that okay?
I think we normally do approve it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, oh yeah, for notices you do, then they can post the schedule. Yeah.
So move.
Okay, we have a first to approve.
Second?
A second. Any further discussion? All them in favor, raise your right hand. All them opposed, the same. Let's show that it passed.
Thank you.
Project updates as needed. Project Freedom.
Brent, did you have something to update on that?
The barn gone?
Barn's gone.
Yep, the barn's gone. I don't think I really have anything other than that.
Yeah.
I need to,
What's left? Just the bottom?
haven't been out there to see.
Okay.
Fire department hasn't gone out there yet?
They have not let me, they're supposed to let me know when they're gonna do, some training activities. One, so that we can go out there and get some pictures of it.
I thought you were gonna say s'mores.
Take marshmallows and.
I wouldn't eat something that cooks off those burning buildings.
Asbestos.
But no, Aaron, I've been in communication with Aaron probably 2-3 weeks ago, and he was supposed to let me know, and I haven't heard anything.
Okay. We've talked about the Overdeer Park road design. So we'll move on to 100 South. We kind of talked about that. So Roger Market.
There's a company sort of looking at it. I've been working with the broker, but it's just one company, and even if they were to take it, it would still be a couple of months out.
Okay.
I know at the last meeting you had talked about the Triad possibly acquiring some of that property. They are moving forward with their special exception, so that's on this month's agenda for the BZA to review that.
They're buying land from Rogers?
Larwill. John, anything on Larwill?
Well, now that the new commissioner for the Larwill area is kind of getting his feet under him, I've asked him to think about talking to some of the locals and the landowners out there that he has relationships with to see if he can help us move that forward.
Okay. That sounds good. Larwill or US 30?
I recently attended a couple meetings, one with NDOT and Allen County, and one with NDOT and SDI. I'm just going to go over their progress and next steps. So, kind of, if I can find the email that I thought I had open. So, most impactful to us, I guess, they're still planning on doing the interchange at Butt Road, and that's going to move forward for a letting of like, or 2029, so 2030 construction start. They're now seriously looking at right in, right out at County Line Road, but only to serve the gas station and Mexican restaurant. It would then still be vacated between Yellow River Road and there. Details of that still need to get worked out. The Same schedule, just a little behind because they get a little later start. 700 and 600, they're still together. They're on also a 2029 letting. They're still planning on the interchange at 700 and the overpass, underpass at 600. But more to follow there. And that's about it, really. Their Flaw Road interchange is kind of still trying to get right away and property and parcels figured out. So that's why they haven't actually started yet.
Why'd you look at me?
No, I'm just trying to look around the room. But, that's about it.
Okay. Walkthrough?
Are you involved in that?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, impact again, and he's, because we didn't go after we agreed on the training grant agreement or whatever, he's very much invited the commission and whomever to do a walkthrough, so I'll just set something up and let you guys know. I don't know, we like doing like 10 o'clock on a Friday or something like that. I'll try and I'll work on what works best for them, and then I'll let everybody know.
Okay, thank you, Bill.
Thanks.
Okay. Yellow River Road,
That was the bid opening.
okay. Miscellaneous matters.
Highway Department paved over the railroad crossing at 600 East, which had been kind of a source of repetitive complaints. So it's just asphalt. If the siding actually is needed, which it's not going to be for the foreseeable future, it's easy enough to cut through that. You just take an engine across it, and asphalt's a lot weaker than a train locomotive, so that helps with that while not being destructive to the overall area, which could come into play as Landmaster is apparently looking to move out of Whitley County now, so that siding, depending on who goes in there, may actually be back in use. So
It's still just gravel now, they'll pave it next summer, but,
what's that?
the crossing patch.
Ambassador
I just drove
Company,
over it,
Landmaster?
looked like it was just gravel.
No, there's gravel on top of the asphalt for
He's
some
Landmaster
reason.
with the cars?
Not sure where that came from.
But ironically, right after they did that, the owner of the building there reached out and was like, oh, did you guys do this? I was looking at consulting with the company to see how much it would cost to reactivate the lines. So,
Oh, okay.
hadn't heard anything about it, and then as soon as we did that, they came out of the
Yeah.
woodwork.
Again, it was intentional to address the issues that we had. Asphalt's cheap and easy to patch and easy to cut through as well, so.
Is that the line that serves Rail Connect?
No, this is the line, the siding that goes south of Shively, north of the substation, and used to serve Essex, now Gator Cases and Landmaster.
There's 2 tracks there? I didn't know that, okay.
You've got the main line, and then a little ways north, you've got the siding.
Got it.
There was like no crossing infrastructure, just some grates and asphalt. That's
Okay.
probably why it was breaking up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we had paid for that as part of the 600 East reconstruction about 10 years ago, 8 years ago. So I don't know if Highway's looking for reimbursement. Probably should ask them.
Okay, we'll move on to claims.
Well, taxes.
Okay. I'll kind of hand these down with some explanation. Fall taxes is the first thing. Don't want to forget that. That's for Niedermeyer's property, keeping in mind that we pay that in arrears. Okay. We have the 2 notices for the Niedermeyer advertising, one of the 2 appraisal invoices, and then the last one, you know what it is.
The one thing I just thought of, if when you're doing work over there, like for that in that area where you just paved, you were talking about on the 600, I think it is. if that property on the corner ever needs anything, they denied renewing our easement for that sign for the Rail Connect Park. So just keep in mind that if they ever need anything, we could use an extension on that easement for that sign. I forget when it expires, but it was like a 15-year easement or a 20-year easement or something like that, and we tried to extend it and they didn't.
Quite a ways in the future yet, I think.
Yeah, I don't think it's that far off. I think.
I was thinking it wound up being like 27 or 28.
Yeah, I think it's around the corner. So if they ever need a favor from us, we could use one in return.
Okay, claims. The property tax on the Niedermeyer property, $2,073.56.
Were the taxes, they weren't addressed in any way in the purchase agreement? Like
Well,
in terms of any credits or?
They would have paid up to that were due at the time.
Okay.
And there would have been, I don't remember if there was a credit or if we had to like sweeten the pot and say we'd pay if it's a standard deal, we would have had a credit for those.
Okay.
I can confirm. I don't recall
Mm-hmm.
if we gave them a special deal, but a standard deal, yes, we would have been credited for those in the closing.
Okay.
And we paid the spring installment, but we only paid what was due in May, so rather than the full amount for the year.
Okay, got it.
Advertising for the bids. Column Software, PVC, for the ad in the Cherubusco News, $28.12. And same Column Software, PVC, for the ad in the Post and Mail, also $28.12. The Sacker Company LLC appraisal for the property at 6719 East Yellow River Road, $1,900 even. And Carson LLP, professional services through September 30th, 2025, $2,252.50.
While they're looking over them, has the fall taxes been paid on that property?
On the Niemeyer? Yeah, they just paid them last week.
Yeah.
Just
So
paid.
that's that's already been paid, but
Retroactive
Yeah.
approval.
didn't wanna have cake
No.
knocking on our door.
That's the last thing we want.
So for 2026, there should be no taxes due since we acquired the property at the tail end of '24.
It's been that long. That's crazy. Time flies.
We'll entertain a motion for the claims.
I'll make a motion that we adopt the claims as presented.
Second?
The first and second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, the same. Let it show it passed.
The next meeting will be scheduled for November 25th, which is the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Does anybody have conflicts with that in case we do have that meeting? Anyone going to someplace like the Bahamas, can you bring the rest of us? Remote meeting.
Just make sure we have internet access or phone access.
Well, we won't need it if we're all there. I guess with the last change.
Yeah, we just have to advertise a change of venue.
Could be an open door problem.
And Tiffany, you said that we do have some transfers and stuff to do before the end of the year.
Yep,
So,
because we've been paying, there's bonds and board members out of the 4,500, so we do an end of year cleanup for that, so.
Also, your reappointments will be coming up too. I don't know when the commissioners, they do that in the last meeting of the year or the first meeting of 2020?
First, usually
Okay.
first meeting.
Yeah, I guess
Is that something?
anybody
What,
want,
is
anybody
there
just
a
want to keep.
problem? Do
Yeah.
you see a problem?
I
here,
just, we
or-
don't want to keep doing this.
Is that
Oh.
the
You might as well
second?
speak
Or
now.
you to get the vote?
That's all I was gonna say.
That needs to be-
Yeah.
Even if we don't have
Since we're
November
spending money,
25th, we
better
will
make
have
sure
the
that
first
once you
meeting
hang
in
it out,
December
since your name's on
in
it,
order to
I
do
wondered.
the underlying tax and use presentation.
You know.
Okay, we still got to
It's just a
approve,
reason we'd let it go.
last meeting, October the 14th minutes. Has everybody had a chance to look over them and see if there's anything that needs to be changed?
I've read over them, and it looks like on the CNC impact, it doesn't show a vote count for or against, and the number for or against probably should be included in there. Otherwise, I think with that correction, I would make a motion that we approve it as presented for October the 14th.
Okay. I have a first, is there a second?
Second.
A first, second. Any further discussion? There being none, everybody that's in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, the same. Let's show that it passed. Okay. Jill, you have anything you'd like to bring up?
Well, actually, we have completed the work on the smaller building on the Radio Road property, mostly done by the students. And we held a school board meeting there last Monday, just to look things over. They rearranged, they put in bathrooms and they painted, and they made part of it into a classroom, which they were gonna start using, I think this week. So that's really exciting. And they are working on the big building. The roofing is being worked on as we speak. And they brought up the fact that any outside contractors that we've brought in to do some of the work, they've all agreed to let students help with the projects. That was part of the agreement when we hired them, is that students could work alongside them, or of course withstanding any safety issues. We have to be careful about that. And they also told us that by having student help working on these projects, we've already saved $500,000.
Wow.
Very good.
So far that's been a very exciting and successful venture for us.
Well, thank you, Jill, for the update. Dale, you have anything else? Or where'd Dale go?
An appointment. Or he ran out of coffee.
Brad, do you have anything? None?
No.
Andy, nothing? John?
Nope.
Michael?
No, sir.
None.
I have none. Nathan?
Probably. Skip, pass.
Okay. Well, we'll stand adjourned.